live here on this Friday afternoon. Rob Olson sitting in for Amy today. Minnesota soybean farmers are searching for more buyers after what's been a pretty turbulent year. 2025, of course, marked by a trade war with China that caused them to pull back on buying U.S. soybeans, many of which come from Minnesota in this region. Of course, the U.S. and China reached a deal last fall to resume soybean trade, which was a big boost to the soybean farmers that were worried a lot here. But of course, that doesn't mean you stop there. Minnesota growers still looking to plant new seeds for broader business. So joining me now is Glen Groth. Glen Groth or Groth? I guess I should have asked ahead of time the pronunciation of your name.
Groth, but you wouldn't be the first one to make that mistake. That's all right.
I'm sure. Well, Groth is an appropriate name for a soybean farmer. You're chair of the Northern Soy Marketing. Your group just returned from a trade trip to Vietnam. Now, let's start with a little bit of history here with the turbulence of last year. What this kind of the trade deal with China then late October, what that did in terms of kind of getting things back on track for the, easing the worries of soybean farmers. Where are you at now with that?
Yeah, anytime we see trade disruption, it creates questions in the minds of our international buyers. Are we a reliable supplier? Will the winds of politics change their supply of American soybean meal? So, the job of these trade missions to go overseas is talk to our buyers and let them know that, we provide a quality product, we're reliable as a consumer, and we're happy to do business with them. We have a sustainability message that we're really proud of, and we want them to think of America first when they go to choose where to source their animal protein needs.
Yeah. So again, even with the resumption of trade with China, that doesn't mean you stop continuing to try to find other markets, especially to try to buffer any future trade turbulence with other countries. Tell me about this trip to Vietnam. When you went, how many went, and what all you saw there, or who you visited with to try to really boost trade there?
Yep, I got into Vietnam the Monday the 16th. Really our job over there is to visit with feed millers and people who import soybean meal primarily for feeding poultry and aquaculture species and swine, and really help them understand why our soybean meal is the best fit for their business. On our trade mission with myself, I provided a farmer perspective. I can give little updates about what's going on a typical Minnesota behind what makes our soybeans unique and how they offer the best value for our overseas customers. We also had two poultry nutritionists. One is based out of Australia, the other is based out of Bangkok, Thailand. And they have a real on-the-ground perspective of what the feed milling industry over there looks like. Really, when we're talking about exporting soybeans and soybean meal to Southeast Asia, the primary user of that are feed mills going for animal agriculture. So it's really answering those questions, providing that perspective really helps them think of us first when they come to sourcing their protein needs for feeding their livestock. We also had a trader from AGP, which is a large soybean processor here in the Midwest. They export American soybean meal, so we're happy to have them along to really kind of provide real on-the-ground information about what freight looks like and soybean pricing situations, so we can answer really any question that our customers might have.
Well, tell me about the sales pitch then here, if you can call it that. I mean, what do you tell people about what makes soybeans and soy meal from this part of the world better than others?
Well, we got to start with what makes us different first. Soybean meal from this region oftentimes, and soybeans in general for that matter, have just slightly lower protein levels than that found in South America. So on paper, it might look like our soybeans are at a disadvantage, but when you dive into the science, you understand what the animal actually needs to grow. Our soybeans actually have a favorable characteristics for our international buyers, slightly higher in energy content, which is like things like starch and sugar. It helps the animal grow, and things like proteins, which build muscle. We have the correct proteins in our soybeans versus others that really gives us an advantage. And the other thing you have to consider, it's very cold in Minnesota. Our soybeans, after they're harvested, they go into the grain bin and they're kept cold. They're basically kept in the refrigerator all the time. And after they're taken to a soybean processing plant, they're still kept cold. And they get loaded on a train full of soybean meal, and that's cold, and it goes into a ship cold. Basically, our soybeans are kind of kept refrigerated a lot of the year versus South America, where it's hot and steamy and humid during harvest season, and those soybeans and subsequently the soybean meal can start to degrade much quicker. So we really want to talk about that. We also talk about the fact, sustainability is important as those Southeast Asian nations, grow in wealth and economic prosperity. They want to choose animal products that are fed with soybeans that have sustainable characteristics, which ours do. We're very proud of our conservation agriculture and, using cold weather to our advantage to manage pests. And that gives us overall a great selling point when we come to talk to our buyers.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And when you do these trade missions, and again, you're trying to get countries to buy your product from here, is this something where they're already getting them from somewhere else and you're trying to convince them to not buy there and to buy here, or are they just looking to add to what they're already importing?
Sometimes both. In some cases, they're not using soybean meal and soybean protein already. We want to help them understand the advantage of using soybeans. In other cases, they're importing a lot from South America, and oftentimes, based on policy decisions, tariffs and import duties, and just the general price of soybeans in different countries, sometimes we're at a slight price disadvantage. But just because something is more expensive doesn't mean it's not a better deal. Sometimes less is more and more is less, and that's really what we like to talk about. Sometimes the cheaper option, such as getting soybean meal from other parts of the world, ends up costing them more in the long run. So we help them understand the science behind that, and ultimately it benefits the farmer. All
right. So on the backside of this trip to Vietnam, what came out of that? We got any deals coming to export more of our beans? And what was your impression and takeaway now that you're back at home?
Well, there's a broad understanding, thanks to a lot of these trade missions we've done, that, our soybeans and soybean meal do offer an advantage to our customers over there. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting the right price at the right time to try a larger shipload of soybeans and or soybean meal, so then they can use it in their feeding operations to, really see that it provides advantages to their animals. And in many cases, we are already purchasing a percentage of American soybean meal already. We just want a bigger chunk of that pie. On large markets such as Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand, even a small percentage increase in soybean meal exports has big ramifications for the American farmer. So we just want a bigger piece of the market and make sure they have sustainable businesses and we have places to go with our products.
All right. Well, and then finally, kind of circling back to where we started here after last year's, uncertainty with the trade with China, how are soybean farmers right now feeling today about, the stability of these markets?
Yeah, there's a lot of apprehension. There's a lot of unknowns as to what's going to come down policy-wise. Of course, weather is always an impact. What's the weather going to do for the growing season? So it's always there's always a lot of question marks in the air when you're a farmer, but that's part of the business. That's what makes us tough. That's what makes us resilient. But overall, I think the long-term trend is optimistic. Soybean prices have increased here in the last month and a half. So some farmers are being able to market their crops at a profitable level, which is really a sigh of relief compared to where prices were around the end of the year and New Year's time frame. So you have to be optimistic to a certain extent when you're a farmer. And right now I'm feeling much better than I did before. And of course, getting a better understanding of international markets makes me feel good as well. So we're looking forward to the future.
And lastly, not about soybeans, but just about travel. What was your impression of visiting Vietnam?
I was really impressed. I've been to a few Southeast Asian countries already through this organization, but I found the people there to be industrious and optimistic and very friendly. I stayed in Ho Chi Minh City most of the time, and it was very walkable and friendly, and wouldn't hesitate to go back.
All right. Thank you. Glen Groth with the a Minnesota soybean farmer and chair of Northern Soy Marketing. Thanks for sharing information about your trade trip to Vietnam. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.